You're listening to the Full Gambit podcast with J. Michael Phoenix. Straight talk. No BS. No BS. Inviting you to get off your ass and talk to somebody.
I don't know how to introduce this episode today because we had all good intentions of talking about crypto utopia. But my good friend Theo Savusis read something that sparked a whole conversation that we got on camera. But you will not get that oos. But if you subscribe to our YouTube channel right now, you will see that particular clip up and ready to go. You're listening to the Full Gambit podcast. Theo Savusis is in the building. We're going to talk about crypto again. FTX revelations, the tanking of crypto.com, the failed tanking of crypto.com, and more innovation in the blockchain space and how we could use these innovations for everyday simple tasks. Theo, before we started the show, we were just talking off the cuff about some filing that article actually where FTX accused the Bahamas. They said the Bahamas, which is a country. Mm-hmm. They didn't name an entity of hacking FTX in this hack that happened that caused everybody to delete their FTX app. And I couldn't even find it again. I deleted it off my phone just because I didn't want anybody else to have access because that's where my MetaMask is. That's where all my, I didn't want any, so I just deleted it. And I was like, fear, uncertainty, and doubt caused me to delete this app. These ingenious motherfuckers. It's evil. It's evil. What do you think about the hack? And them crediting us with it. Not to say that we don't have the people that can do it. I just don't think it's us, obviously.
Yeah. All evidence or most of the evidence points to an inside job. So it's much more likely someone within FTX perpetrated that hack or used their credentials to perpetrate that hack.
Because it was too coincidental, right?
And it happened too quickly.
Right.
And it was really very quick and dirty. And
what do you mean quick and dirty?
I mean, they would just account after account, empty it, liquidate it, sell it for whatever you could get on the open market. Doesn't matter how much the price slips because you're selling so much at one time, right? You're not doing it strategically. You're not doing it.
You didn't care about it because it's on your money.
It's not an OTC, an over-the-counter deal where the price doesn't slip. And so they were just trying to move as much crypto out of people's accounts as possible. And people on Twitter in real time were saying, my account just went to zero. I was on the platform, I was looking at my account and it just went to zero.
And that part, I think that's the criminal part.
That is criminal, but who can you pin that on? Now, FTX turns around in court in New York.
This is a lot of big cases happening in New York,
and says that the Bahamas did that.
The Bahamas who? Did Cat Island do it?
The Bahamas government.
Did Ragged Island do it?
The Bahamas government did it.
The Bahamas government?
Yeah. They perpetrated the hack to try and steal as much as possible. And mind you, they got away with over $400 million in funds in that 30 minutes, 45 minutes that the hack took place. And that's what I mean by quick and dirty.
FTX after it had given, I don't think they gave instructions to the Securities Commission. I think that's just a trigger because of our regulation. Something happens, the Securities Commission steps in and, hey, we see what you have. You use client funds to buy all this real estate. You have money out. We have to wind this down. We have to liquidate the situation and let's move forward.
But it's impossible for Securities Commission or the receivers, which was Lennox Payton, I believe.
Yeah, I think it is.
To step in and say, we need all your credentials and to go in and change everything so that no one could go back and start pilfering.
Because apparently there's a backdoor that Sam has that caused the entire collapse in the first place. He was able to move so much of the client funds over to the sister company, Alameda
Research.
Right.
Apparently there was a backdoor so that no eyebrows would be raised. No flags when there were large transfers of funds, client funds, to Alameda Research to gamble with, which Alameda lost about 15 billion of those funds.
See, that's the problem that I have, right? I know there are flags that go off, there are triggers that go off, but nothing can escape the human eye. Like, you can see it. You should be able to see it. Or did I see it after it happened? I kicked up a fuss. You need to return the funds. You didn't agree with me, so I quit and I say nothing. And then months later, this happens. Is that what happened? Do you think that's what happened? Because around the same time that the funds were transferred via this back door and no flags were raised, CFO resigned, eh?
Yeah, and the CEO of Alameda Research resigned too.
The other Sam.
Trabusco or whatever his name is.
So Sam number 2 resigned after...
Yeah, after that, because he could smell...
the shit.
He could smell...
Don't worry. Yeah. This one is going to be rated because there's a lot of garbage to be thrown out, and
he didn't want to go to jail.
I don't blame him.
Right. So he quit.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be murdered because people get real personal for their money. And this is not a little bit of money. And people think that this is all retail investors. This is some investor money. This is a lot of big investor money as well.
Yeah, what surprises me is how when we look at the post-mortem, so many things don't add up with FTX. Things like how FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried got started.
Right.
Where did he get the capital to do the arbitrage that he said he was doing on Bitcoin between the U.S.
And Hong Kong, right?
And
Japan, because it was like a $1,000 difference. It was selling for $10,000 in the U.S. and then in Japan it was $11,000 something.
It was more expensive, right?
Right.
So to make money with arbitrage like that, you need $1 billion to pull off the kind of money that he had before he even got started.
So do you think? So he had the money. Obviously, it came from somewhere.
Yeah, it came from somewhere, and the question is, where the hell did he get the money to even get started? To get so big, to attract venture capitalists, to buy arenas, to get stars on board.
After you acquire a certain amount and you're in the venture capitalists and you're naming arenas, the celebrities will come.
Correct.
And because they're only looking on the surface, they're just kicking the tires and it's a nice shiny car in the showcase. And this guy's talking a big game and this person swears for him and signed off on him. And I think he bought a lot of credibility because of the charitable donations. I think people refuse to follow this particular rule, and this is why I love the 48 Laws of Power so much. Refuse to free lunch, people. A lot, like hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars go into this organization and that. Oh yeah, he's a great guy. He's so altruistic.
Right.
And he's a vegan too. You don't have mean vegans, right? They don't eat animals. So why would they eat me?
Before he started FTX, he was working for a company called Effective Altruism.
You know what? Here's the funny thing. And my wife is going to hate me because she's going to watch this show. When he first, because I did the toy give back, the FTX parade last Christmas, right? I shot it for them. And she came to me and was like, oh, this is a great company, and they're doing so much in the community, because she sits on the board for one of the charities that he gave money to, and they were supposed to help build this complex. I don't know. I hope the funds went through and they cash it out and they get to keep it. Right? But she later talked about effective altruism, right? And I was like, what is this cult? Like, this doesn't make sense, making money to give it away. Like, I'm here for helping people out, but that's not the sole purpose of, like, no, it doesn't make sense. And for like 7 weeks, this was a pain in my side. And she was like, if I miss 2 sessions in a row, they're gonna kick me out. No one does that. No one that believes in spreading positivity, genuine positivity, will kick someone out because life happened and they can't join your dumb Zoom call and talk garbage for 3 hours. And I came down one time, and I swear to God, I was descending downstairs and she didn't have headphones on. So I heard some of it, and this kid, he sounded so depressed, right? And this was talking, I can't even remember what he was saying. And I said, you guys need to recommend some help for that guy. I think he was like moments away from probably like trying to off himself. And she like shushed me and like put me in the corner and said, you know what, I'm gonna play modern. Like I don't have time for this crap. It's create a cult-like following. Again, the 48 laws of power. Give away. Who doesn't like someone that's giving away millions and billions of dollars as he said he would?
That's how he got so much credibility. But he needed funds to get it to that level.
Steal it.
Right? And, well, I mean, we don't know that this is how it started.
No.
But certainly this is how it went this year.
Yeah, how it went south.
It went south this year, and basically Alameda Research was hemorrhaging.
Yeah.
And to stop the margin calls, he had to open up that back door and shovel all of the money out of FTX into Alameda Research to keep it going.
But how? Okay, so my thing is this, and I'm new to crypto, right? I'm only about, I would say, a year in, and SHIB was my big thing, right? Like that was my entry. I was interested in Doge, missed the train on that because of some stupid bankier that wouldn't let me spend my own money. But I got into SHIB through a friend. And I have moved my stuff around. Like I've had that flexibility. And I know that there are a lot of novels. How is it that they were able to convince people to keep their money on the platform? Like just wake up one morning, oh, I have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80,000. I could lose 10,000 and I'm not gonna move it. I'm not gonna do anything with it. Like how? And you said last week that $5 million probably would have caused this call, and a tweet took him down. Not a movement of money, a tweet. How did this happen a couple of months ago?
Well, the thing is that the problem was they were using their FTT token as collateral, and that's like the FTT token doesn't have any real value.
So no one said, you know what, I have this much FTT, it's at $20 a token, I need $1 million or $2, and
they print more when they need it, and now they've inflated their balance sheet. And
so it had to actually be a bank run to cause it to collapse, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Because as soon as you start trying to cash out your FTT, as soon as you start moving your funds off of FTX, well, like Warren Buffett say, you never know who's swimming naked till the tide.
That is so true. That is so true.
And so the tide ran out.
The tide ran out.
And Sam was swimming naked.
With a small PP. Okay, so there was something that I saw interesting. I can't remember which outlet reported it, but apparently people are beginning to scrutinize CZ for his part. It's coming on what they call it, congressional scrutiny?
So,
what's that about?
All right, my take on that is that, first of all, we see FTX implode.
Yes, completely.
Completely. And then, instead of the entire United States force and might coming down on Sam Bankman-Fried, we start to see puff pieces written in the New York Times saying, oh, the poor kid was under a lot of pressure.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Read the New York Times.
The New York Times?
Yeah, it came out last Monday. Puff piece completely. Oh, the poor guy. He was so stressed out.
This is what happens when you do business in the Bahamas. I saw some stuff like that.
So now here is this guy who donates $40 million to the Democrats for the
reaping those benefits
for the midterm, gets an inside seat at the SEC with Gary Gensler, who is a friend of his dad's. In fact, his dad was his boss, Gary Gensler's boss, at MIT, and Sam's mom is running Mind the Gap, which is
huge,
$140 million she collected for the Democrats. So
he's protected. The Democrats have the Senate. They lost the House.
Right? So when the shit hits the fan, instead of going after the one who was swimming naked,
they go after
the guy who drained the pool.
Definitely. That tweet, that mighty tweet,
right? The one who poked a hole in the side of
your boy Trunks.
And so they're going after CZ because he exposed.
Now you know what? If it had just been, I love CZ because I use Binance. Binance, I swear by Binance, and anybody that knows me, I tell them, hey, if you're looking at exchange, look at Binance. You do your DeFi situation, that's good. But when you wanna, that's me. I didn't agree with what CZ tried to do to Crypto.com this week or last week. That tweet that was the first rock of what I called a FUD Twitter tsunami. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was so much sensationalism on that AMA, and it was being carried by so many influencers that I thought knew better because they were calm, they were sound. It wasn't sensationalized. It was just matter of fact based on legitimate research. And I had to call one out, Zach Humphreys, man. I was so pissed off. I was like, you are, even if you think you're not intentionally doing it, this is unsubstantiated. No one's doing this background research. No one can vouch, and it came out that I was right. You know what I mean? So now we're in a dangerous part of the game now that enough tweets, a strong YouTube algorithm can tank an exchange.
Absolutely. Any exchange that looks shaky is at risk.
Yeah.
And look, there's no question that Crypto.com behaved in a very risky way in the past. They had serious trouble recovering from the Terra Luna debacle.
Right.
And from this FTX. And the thing is, even though they have published their wallet addresses with the balances for all of the tokens that they hold, and there's Bitcoin and SHIB was their number 2.
SHIB was like 20% of their holdings, and they said, and they came out in the AMA. The CEO said, "Listen, that's what our clients buy."
Right, but they have not published their debt.
That's a big thing.
Have not
because it's
seen
one-sided.
their debt. We have not seen anybody's debt, and I trust no one until I see that. Because
the true balance sheet.
Absolutely, because all we're seeing is the assets, but we're not seeing the debt column.
And when you look at with debt, like there had been
What do
so
they
many
owe?
big marketing campaigns. They have these big franchises that they
borrow tons of money from other, entities.
Yeah.
They have tons of debt. How much? Let's see that.
So how many glass houses do you think is going to break in the next 3 months?
We ain't seen the end of this yet.
Seriously?
Yeah, we have not seen the end of this
So
yet.
it's similar to that thread that hangs on your garment, and you keep pulling it, you just keep destroying
the whole
that great
thing
suit.
comes apart. Everyone who is misbehaving and cannot find the funds to stay alive. CZ, Binance.
Yeah.
He was one of the most shady operators ever to exist in crypto.
Listen, I told you a couple of weeks ago, hey, I used to sell drugs. That's easy. We're talking about our drug era. I got the money, I cleaned it up, and I'm a legitimate businessman now. He's the biggest guy in crypto. How he got there, we could question it. We could talk about it.
No, we know what he did. We know what he did. I was around when he did it.
I'm a newbie. I don't know. I know.
When Binance started, I was there.
I know baldhead CZ that tweets and hangs out with his followers in his AMAs and just talk motherfucker. I know that CZ. I don't know.
He's a criminal. But he has cleaned up his act.
Yeah.
He's had to.
Evolution is key. Evolution is key.
So chances are
he's fine.
He's fine. Chances are.
Chances are, for me, based on what I saw, and he was it was so smart. Everybody's panicking about FTX. They want to know where the contagion is. There's this huge AMA that he knows he's going to pop in. His nose for now is clean. There's no, right? So let me throw a little pebble in this direction. I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to point to a particular situation that looks so weird, and I'll let you guys do the rest. And it was like rabid dogs. And no one called him off for about 24. And it was the audacity was like, oh, if your house is clean, you'll come on this AMA now and answer these questions of the people. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Mm-hmm. You don't get to command me. I'll come on. And to their credit, they had a great AMA. They were able to stop some of the bleeding because a lot of people were scared. And it turned out okay for now, like you said. But until that full report is out, hey, put out the debt, we don't know.
We need proof of reserves. We need...
so apparently Binance is working on that with Vitalik. Some sort of mechanism to show proof of reserves, because that's a part of the evolution that you talked about, the natural evolution, right? These things will happen, and in order to move forward, we need to implement certain things to give back that confidence, to bring back that confidence.
Yeah. And technically, it's called a Merkle tree.
What do you call it?
Merkle tree.
You're so sophisticated with all these coins of phrase.
Well, it's an actual data structure in cryptography where you use it as part of the Bitcoin algorithm. You use it in many other coins as well. It is the basis of crypto, Merkle trees. And they are data structures that hold hashes.
Okay.
And a hash is take a whole bunch of text, information, whatever.
Right, and compile it into a very unique sequence.
It gives you can have different size hashes.
Right.
The bigger the hash is, the more secure it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so in Bitcoin, it's 256.
What?
256 bytes
Okay.
of hash.
Okay.
Right? But you can have all the way up to 1024, 2048 bytes for the really big ones. It just takes much longer to crunch through it.
Okay.
The bigger you get. So you have to. So the point is that you can create trees with these hashes, and I don't want to get too technical, but ultimately what you can do is show that you have the reserves by the hash itself, and the hash does not reveal the amount.
So it'll be similar to your zero. What you call it? Zero proof.
Zero knowledge proofs.
Is it similar to something like that?
The idea is very similar, where you don't actually
need to see the fine detail, the giveaway, whatever, but just to say, hey, yes, they have a 1-to-1 reserve.
Yeah.
They're solid. It's balanced.
Yeah.
Would it take? Because I saw a tweet where someone said, "I hope they get someone else, another dev, to work on it and not Vitalik, because we don't need to be waiting years, similar to Ethereum 2.0."
Listen, Vitalik is a smart dude.
He is,
and he codes very quickly.
I love the nerd.
The thing about Ethereum is doing upgrades to Ethereum. It's a problem, because it's much easier for other chains like Solana and that come along and say, hey, we've already got sharding, we've already got proof of stake, we've already got, we're way ahead. Our speed is like so much faster. Right? Okay, it's a lot easier to do that before you come live. But once you're live, and Ethereum has been for a
years,
long time,
yes.
The equivalent is to do repairs on a jet at 35,000 feet.
Impossible.
That's what Ethereum is doing.
Oh, wow.
They're upgrading the engines at 35,000 feet. And so it's a lot harder. You make one mistake,
it's done.
It's done. You're out of the air. So that's why it takes longer. Because it's a much more delicate problem.
Okay, so unfounded tweet, horrible person, give Vitalik a chance, let him breathe.
The point is, that he's very careful about,
Very meticulous.
Absolutely, very meticulous.
Very meticulous. So I don't want to be that person that continues to kick the dog while it's down. So I don't want to really continue after, because they're done. And for your CEO, your new appointed CEO, to come on and say, you don't speak on our behalf, stop tweeting, you're done. You're pretty much just waiting to be arrested at this point. Arrested and extradited. I hope he never gets extradited, because I actually want to see him go to jail. I think there needs that to happen, because I don't want another Daquan situation. I don't want you to be tweeting from wherever it is that you're hiding out. And I know that you're nice and comfortable and cushioned. Everybody else is wrecked. I want there to be an example. And I think we should be the jurisdiction to make this example. Let him sit up in Fox Hill for a little bit. Let him get touch up, right? Let him get prayed for, as the uniform officers say. And then if Uncle Biden wants to bring him home so he can continue his sentence from some place wherever, let that happen. But let's jail him so people know that there are actual consequences to these things. Because until there are consequences, we'll continue to have these things, I think, personally.
He's not going to jail.
Oh, God.
He's not going to jail.
Hey, but I bet you, and this is another, he's not a kid. He's a grown man. He's 30 years old. He looks like anyway, I'm not going to say that. God forbid, don't say that. But if he was me, I would have already been in handcuffs. I'd have been done.
Anyone. Almost anyone.
Jeez.
But he has
And I'm blocked, by the way, for those that are only gonna listen via the podcast and not watch it on YouTube. I'm midnight block. Like you can't mistake it. You turn off the light, I disappear.
I don't know. I don't see him going to jail because he's so well protected. And he's really helped.
It wouldn't hurt,
connections
though.
With the Democrats.
It wouldn't. Okay, his connection with. He's in Albany. Like I could take 20 minutes from the studio that we're shooting at right now, Jiggy Productions. 20 minutes. I'm in Albany.
Yeah.
And from Albany, the nearest police station is what? Cable Beach. We could hold him there until we take him on Central. He could do a wiggle in Bank Lane, please. Please.
The police already issued a statement.
They have to wait until the Securities Commission is done before they can do anything. And the Securities Commission can take God knows how long.
Yeah. There's nothing to
hold
them on.
That's a problem for me. It is so obvious. It is so... See, and this is where we play around with our what's the word I'm looking for? Our brand here in the Bahamas, right? We allowed the Fire Festival fiasco to happen, right? He was able to go back home. He was arrested. He went to jail. He served what 3 out of the 6 years or 4 out of the 6 years or whatever. Then came out, had the balls, the testicular fortitude to say, hey, I'm going to do Fire Festival Part 2, the treasure hunt, in the same country you just screwed. Had the marketing and everything, caused the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Tourism to come and say, listen, hey guy, don't come back here. You're a fugitive here. We have no association with this guy in any event or any person that's like, come on, man. We have to take our morons seriously. We can't allow this one to slide.
Maybe he's got his act together now. You know, I mean, maybe.
Billy? The one who sent his friend to go to the custom officer for water. You want me to give fellatio for water? You got to take one for the team? You think that Billy got his act together? That man is a moving Ponzi scheme. He changes Ponzi schemes every time he take a dump.
I know. Yeah, I'm being facetious.
Oh, Billy.
So,
yeah, and they don't even know, our authorities don't even know if he's already been here.
It seems that if you look at these things historically, the bigger the scale, the more chance you get away with it. If this was an ordinary holdup, an ordinary bank robbery, no question, you'd be in jail right away.
So the bigger the scale,
the bigger it is, the more chance you get away with it.
See, you got me thinking about doing something really big because it seems like the only way out.
That's the only way it'll work. It has to be really big.
I mean, if you look historically, he's right.
Yeah.
Slavery, rum running. Now these FTX and stocks, the mortgage crisis. The bigger they are, these people don't go to jail. There's no reparation. There's nothing.
And you know, in 2008, it was codified in the sense that the Federal Reserve labeled Wall Street banks too big to fail.
Yes, I remember
that. And never mind the criminality, never mind the shenanigans, never mind the mismanagement, the misappropriation of funds, the misleading of clients and customers and all the rest of it. Clearly illegal. No, they were too big to fail and bailed out. And no one went to jail.
So too big to fail and jail. That's the name of this particular podcast. Too big to fail and jeez.
Yeah. And so no president of the United States had the authority to override that. Obama could do nothing about it.
I remember that was I think the weakest, and that was the turn where people knew that he was the presidency, not just him. It's puppets.
Right.
They're just puppets. Because for the longest time, I thought that was their legitimate central bank. I had to learn about that system.
Listen,
I had to learn. I woke up that day. And if you don't know, enjoy your ignorance.
money.
Jeez.
And I mean money.
Money.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get positive. Let's get positive.
Right.
That'll pop your head.
Right.
How is it do you feel? Because I'm all about innovation. I'm all about evolution. I'm all about using what you have to create something better, right? I think as a country, and we're in the Bahamas, guys, so this affects me, this affects us, right? This affects our reputation. How do we move on from this and continue to try to tout that, hey, we're open for business and we are receptive to digital currency industries or the crypto and blockchain industry? What are the next steps if you had to advise the PM on how to move forward and save face in the international community?
Well, I would recommend the route that the Caymans have taken.
How so?
There is a ton of development in cryptocurrency taking place in the Caymans.
Are they going to beat us to this again?
They smoked us a long time. All the development has been going on down there. It's in Singapore, it's in Hong Kong, but it's not in the Bahamas. They were talking about creating a technological hub in Freeport from the F&M days.
It's all, anytime with digitization and creating hubs, it's always like lip service is like.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Whereas the Caymans just opened the door and said, come. And they all came. They're all down there. There's hundreds of developers there. The point is, you got to open your doors to the people who know how to do this. And you got to, don't bother them. Leave them alone. That's it. Open the door and leave them alone. Everything else will flow from that.
So similar to a Freeport 2.0, because that's what Freeport was.
Yeah.
Freeport was a development. Hey, guys, this is what I need you to do. And we left them alone and they thrived. And then the minute after majority rule and independence, the meddling began. And we saw the decline. It wasn't a big rug pull after what happened with the storm, but we saw the decline year after year after year after year until it's not absolutely nothing we're talking about.
The point is, as soon as you jump in politically to try and take advantage or to try and do anything,
you spoil the pot.
Exactly. They leave.
Yeah. They
just leave, right? And so you destroy whatever was the crucible that was there, what was being built. And so that's what the Caymans have done. They just opened the door and said, come.
What is the benefit from that? Like, what is the type of innovation the country as a whole, the Cayman, has enjoyed because of that open door policy, that hands-off policy?
A lot of crypto development takes place there. And so a lot of crypto corporations are now set up there. And anyone who wants anything done in crypto and wants to be in the Caribbean goes there. And so new projects flock there. More people are coming there. It spills out into the economy in terms of hiring as many computer programmers as you can possibly find locally, and they don't have enough.
Right.
And it means also.
So that's a nugget, guys. Start computer programming as your general degree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Learn crypto.
Definitely.
Yeah. Learn crypto programming. Well, focus on crypto projects.
Right.
Become a full stack programmer if possible, but focus on crypto projects. Python, Rust, languages like that.
Hands off. And I'm guessing that with the influx of human beings, there's a standard of living there, so they're taxable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it spills on and it bleeds out in as a ripple in the economy.
It does, and a lot of people say, that's crap because that's the trickle down economy. We wait forever for this thing to trickle down to the common person. Mm-hmm. But unless you can find another FTX who's just going to come here and throw money around, mm-hmm. But this time they're responsible,
right?
Because basically what FTX was doing is, $200 million in real estate in Albany. They were all these charitable projects, hiring Bahamians, supporting the economy, building this, building that. Mm-hmm. All of that was the money coming in to do it. Now, it's going to be very difficult to find another entity like that to replace them, who will come here with effective altruism and just throw money around.
No one
right?
else. I think that cult will die with Sam Bankman-Fried.
Well,
I think that's done.
I don't know. It might be, but the point is that the idea of effective altruism is let the billionaires decide how to spend the money and create the NGOs to actually implement it, because we want effective altruism.
Not just altruism.
Not just altruism, because there are so many nonprofits that if you really look at them, you see 95% of the donations go to administrative costs.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you really want to give back to your community, you have to be in that fight. You have to know who's doing. Like, if I wanted to give away X amount of dollars to a feed-in program, I would never give it to the Red Cross. I would go to Reverend Hanchel over there on Wolf Road that I know the line is around and he's feeding people. Right,
exactly. And so this is where effective altruism got their start. But
sounded good.
The problem with them is do not trust billionaires bearing gifts.
Despise the free lunch. If you read the book,
they are looking for something.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So don't trust, they're Trojan horses. The billionaires with the money, all of them bearing, the saying was, do not trust Greeks bearing gifts.
Wow.
Because that's where the Trojan horse came from, right? Yeah. And so don't trust billionaires.
But the thing about it is, and here's the thing, you don't trust billionaires unless you understand exactly what you're getting into. If you know the game that you're about to play, play the game and don't complain. Play the game and don't complain.
The point is they don't give money without control. They want to control
that is true.
How,
They want to control the narrative. They want to control the outcome.
Yeah.
And you can't speak on this, blah, 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 blah. No. Yeah.
Correct.
And by the time they're done, it's their project. It's all branded with Amazon and whoever, and it's done.
So getting back to the Bahamas is going to be very difficult to find a replacement for FTX that splashed around that kind of money.
I don't think we need the money. I think we need the practical applied tech and innovation. I think that's the route to go. I think
so. Yeah. Now, that's another story. Okay, because on the one hand, we're looking at a crypto exchange, a centralized crypto exchange that came here and splashed around a lot of money, got caught with their pants down, and they're gone.
Right.
Now, the other side is to actually take the fruits of crypto and apply them to our day-to-day lives. Yeah. And that takes adoption. That takes time.
Yeah.
Because what are we going to work on first? I mean, certainly the banking system needs to change.
I think we need some. Well, I know there are a few new Bahamian banks in the pipeline. I know that for sure. I think we need to get rid of the Canadian banks and probably bring in some competition for them.
Well, here's the thing. The sand dollar can completely wipe out all of the banks. We need them no more.
There's a particular person that would love to hear this particular clip. Continue.
So, the central bank, with its central bank digital currency,
right?
The Bahamas being the first in the world,
yes, we were,
with their sand dollar, right? And there are others coming. 70% of the countries are now working on a central bank digital currency. The United States is launching a test with the New York Fed, with Visa, with JP Morgan Chase. There's a number that are
big money
collaborating together to do a test run on their central bank digital currency. The dark side of letting a central authority control the money with like a central bank digital currency is that once cash is phased out, there can be a lot of dystopian effects that we will can possibly see. Because, look, if the temptation to use money against people, like for instance, you say something on social media against a certain party, right? Right? And you go to your app, your central bank digital currency app, and it's not working.
Some convenient technical glitch.
You get messages, and I mean, if you really want to explore how bad this can be, it can be horrible. The point is,
and that's for all right. So let me put that in a bubble.
Okay.
So here in our jurisdiction. Yes, we've had political persecution and we have nepotism like every other country, but it's hard for me to envision that level of, I don't want to even say nefarious, evil intention, right?
Malice.
I can see that. What's the word?
Malice.
Yeah. I can see that in other jurisdictions like Russia, China. Yeah. But here, not so much. And I think we can pair it and sell it with, I don't know, I hate putting so much trust in politicians and legislation because it can change constitutionally, I think we're sound if we make some sort of amendment to govern this particular innovation constitutionally, we could be fine.
Possibly. But the moment you give total control to a government agency, a government authority over the money supply, and there is no other alternative, there is no cash, then the temptation
is there
to use it is there.
Yeah.
And look, from my own experiences in business, know that you can take a perfectly honest, honorable, innocent individual, hire them, have no oversight,
and they become
it's only a matter of time.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is what will happen always. It always has in history. Always.
Because there's no oversight.
Because there's no oversight. Because there's no way to stop someone pulling the levers, because it's so easy. It's
code.
It's done. One keyboard and even that, not even that, you have an AI that's doing it for you. It's keeping a watch over all the tweets.
And if the AI is annoyed at something that BPL does, God help you.
Yeah, really.
What are you chucking over there for?
So that is the danger of central bank digital currencies.
Yeah.
There is the alternative of decentralized digital currencies. So we could have something like what El Salvador is doing, where they have Bitcoin and the Lightning Network running on top of Bitcoin for very fast transaction times. So you can settle with the Lightning Network. You can settle 100,000 transactions a second,
Right.
And each transaction takes like about 1,000th of a second, and it costs about 1,000th of a penny.
Can they live in the same space? Because
They could live in the same space as long as they're allowed to.
okay.
The point is that if the central bank wants you to use their money only, their sand dollar only, so that they know what's going on. Look, here's what you can do.
Okay. Let's
here's what you can do.
Right.
The money becomes programmable, right?
Okay, yeah.
Central bank digital currencies become programmable, and so we need to stimulate the economy because it's dragging a bit.
Yeah.
So now what we do is we need is for people to spend their funds, not save them. Because when you spend money, you accelerate the economy.
Right,
you turn it over, right?
Correct.
And so what you do is you say the money from your wages come directly into your
sand dollar
into your wallet on your phone.
Right.
But now you have 30 days to spend it.
I don't like that. I hate
But
that
that's
so
the
much.
point. You can
I hate
program
that
the
so
money
much.
and it does not roll over.
Okay, so we're technically spending my money if I say, okay, hey, they work in the same jurisdiction, right? And these are earnings that comes from an employer,
Right,
not capital gains.
right.
I say I want to take $1,000 and I'll buy $500 worth of groceries, pay my bill, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I take $500 and I put it in Bitcoin. That's spending my money. It's not there. Would you allow that?
It depends. It might be that if decentralized cryptos see too much adoption, they can become a threat to
I don't understand though,
to the
because
central bank.
if they are adopted, the value stabilizes, right? And it's accepted 1-to-1. There are certain things that you could put within your jurisdiction that we will only accept fiat for, and that's fine. I have no personal problem with it, because if you tell me the only way that you can buy a boat or a house or a car,
Are you willing to give up exchange control? Are you willing to
I don't like to
no
give up
longer?
control. I don't like to give up control.
Are you willing to give up control of money? Are you willing to
No.
close the central bank because it's no longer needed?
That's where the
That's where this goes. Ultimately, this is where this goes. And banks go with it. Those are not needed either. So ultimately, what we're looking at with decentralized finance is all of those entities go away because they are dinosaurs, simply put.
And we got on well without the dinosaurs, didn't we? I think we're a better society. I don't know. I don't have to worry about some T-Rex eating my head off.
The point is that the technology that cryptocurrencies bring to the fore is so incredible, so different from what we had before, and cannot be reproduced by the old banking business model. It's like Kodak and digital photography.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way that they will coexist.
No.
One is better than the other. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's only a matter of time. So, will that be allowed to happen? I see a huge fight coming. I see the centralized authorities are going to take on crypto like their life depended on it. That's where I think we're going.
Yeah.
The big fight is coming.
The big fight is coming.
Yeah. It started already.
World War Crypto.
Yeah.
Let me coin that right now.
So,
put it on a shirt.
This is what...
No, it's a serious thing. Because now that you challenge it, are you willing to get rid of... And if you know anything about central banks and how money works, you know how scary this thing is.
Absolutely. But it was Gandhi who said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win.
Yeah. And what stage are we on now?
Fight.
Yeah. Because, they ignored it initially.
Yeah.
And everybody would scoff at it, talking about the volatility and it's not serious and labeling it shit coins and all this other stuff. And you're right. We're in the fight stage because you see the intentional sabotage.
Right.
You see it. If you had to choose a mechanism from this dinosaur age that is smart enough to evolve and adapt and kind of, not become an ally, but they're opportunist, what would you see? What do you think it would be?
There's a fundamental problem. And it boils down to this. Just as we evolved to realize that a separation between church and state was absolutely fundamental to our progress, to our growth, to our evolution, so we will realize that the separation between money and state is likewise. Money will be taken out of the hands of the state. It will no longer be issued,
How would
controlled.
they survive?
What's that?
How would the state survive?
How would the state survive?
Because if you're pitting cryptocurrency and blockchain versus the financial system and central banks, that's one fight, right? And just say we're successful and we knock them off, or there's some adoption or adaptation or evolution in this dinosaur and they're able to survive it. The state is next.
So what happens is that there's a quiet rug pull as people move from traditional finance to crypto finance as it evolves. Okay. And once you reach a critical mass, and once there are enough products on the market where you just got the money, and it was like that, it was instantaneous, didn't involve banks, and no one can tell me I can't send you money. Right. And it didn't cost anything.
Right. And you got it and you were able to use it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That is what is we're going to wake up and find that no one's using the traditional finance system anymore. And it will simply implode. They'll have to go find something else to do. But for their fight, the fight that for their existence, because this is an existential threat.
Yeah, this is extinction for them.
Absolutely. What they're going to have to do is ban it. The same way China has banned it, we're going to see the US ban crypto eventually. It might take a few years, but it's coming. I mean, they have to. There is no other way. But even that isn't going to stop crypto adoption because it is too powerful. The technology is too powerful. The idea is too powerful.
For the people, by the people.
And as I've forgotten the Frenchman's name who said this, there's nothing as powerful as an idea whose time has come. Even standing armies will not be able to hold back the evolution of that.
Say that one more time. We're going to end on that. Say that one more time. Because I think there's some people in the back that need to hear that and understand that.
There is nothing as powerful as an idea whose time has come.
That is the Full Gambit podcast. Good.
Thanks for listening. And remember, one good conversation can shift the direction of change forever. Like, subscribe, and leave a review.